Monday edition at like mad early 6 p.m. because normally I'm not putting out a video on a Sunday, but I figured, hey, you know what? Plus, there was a lot going on in the news today. We had the Michael Irvin thing going on that I had to talk about, and I definitely wanted to talk about this video, what we got today. I'm Marcus, you're at the channel The Debt Free Dad, where we're doing financial takes, financial topics, current events, attorney reactions, and more importantly, I'm letting y'all know what we got going on as my family is on the road to financial freedom. Yo, before we get started, I wanted to shout out a channel. Y'all need to definitely go check out this channel. The channel name is Pink Book Lessons. Is in the title. Go ahead, jump over there, check out that sister's content because she has some really interesting content. Now, one of my subscribers, my guy Wolverine, shot me this in a link, and I said, this sounds interesting because this guy who is on child support is old as hell. So I was like, okay, I definitely got to check it out. Now, before I dive in, hey, I am a licensed attorney, but this isn't legal or financial advice. Go find a professional in your area. Now, I always like to give the backstory of my experience with child support and why I generally don't like and dislike family law. I'm really glad I never done it, but I was in child support court. Essentially, so everybody know what lens I'm looking through this window with as an attorney. As a public defender, when someone is on child support, the court will issue a child support order. And of course, if someone doesn't pay that child support order, what happens? They are at risk of going into custody for being behind on child support, but more importantly, or more specifically, violating that court order. So because people have potential to go to jail for violating a court order for child support, they are entitled to get a public defender if they can't afford counsel. I mean, just think about it, from a reasonable standpoint. If somebody can't pay their child support, they damn sure probably can't hire an attorney. But because they got a risk of going to jail, the Constitution affords them the right to have an attorney. So I was that attorney. I would be in there dealing with all their child support matters, trying to get things squared away, trying to keep them from getting locked up. They get locked up because if you get locked up for child support, you get out. It ain't like they decrease the amount of child support that you owe. Nah, you just out of the game, not able to work unless you get work release, which a lot of times don't happen, but that's neither here nor there. So this story is interesting. This story is about an 82-year-old woman who passed away at the beginning of this year, but her baby father, who is 73, is in court for back child support, about $42,000 of back child support. Now, I know what y'all thinking. Y'all probably like, yo, DFD. Y'all probably thinking like, yo, DFD. Okay, I get it. This is a wild story, but what's the financial nexus? There's a very important financial nexus here. And I said in another video, I look at the algorithm, I look at my analytics. I know that a vast majority of my viewers are fellas. Hey, fellas, what's up? Ladies, if you watching, what's up to y'all too? But I know just from the data, a lot of viewers are fellas. And this is something that I talk about all the time. What's the old saying? It takes you a little bit of time. You can get into trouble real fast, but it takes you a lifetime to get out of it. This goes to one of the most important things when it comes to your finances is making good, decisions. You have to make good decisions with what you're doing. If you get too over leveraged by having a bunch of kids, having the wrong baby mother, it could make your financial life a fucking nightmare. Pardon my language, but I needed to say that because, I understand it. Child support is one of those real unique issues where, yes, I understand the need for child support because there are people out there, men and women, who need to get pushed to do what they need to do to support their child. But, hey, I'm going to just keep it a buck with y'all. Family court, child support court, it doesn't count for fellas a lot of times. I'll link a video above to a video I did where I talked about how to legally get your child support lowered. It wasn't nothing like cut hair, barber, work under the table. It was legitimate ways to get your child support lowered legally. But child support can jam you up. That's why I thought this video was interesting, because we got a 73-year-old guy. And I'm gonna let the video play for the most part. I may pause it a few times, but at 73, you 73 years old in child support court. That's the craziest stuff I ever heard in my life. What's going on, Dimitri? It's a crazy story, but it goes to show that this guy made a bad decision and he's suffering for it financially in his latter years in retirement. I think this is an interesting story. It's a cautionary tale of, hey, you got to be careful with who you decide to make moves with as an adult, be it a man, be it a woman, because like I said, 30 seconds of pleasure, that 30 seconds of pleasure can cause you a lifetime of headaches. So you want to be smart, you want to be strategic, you want to make good decisions in that area, because that, hey, who you elect to have a child with, who you decide to be with, is probably the most, aside from your personal effort, is probably the most important factor to determining a person's financial success. Is this a joke? I wish it was a joke. I know this guy wished it was a joke. Now I'm gonna go ahead and go to the video. Like I said, y'all check out Pink Book Lessons. She got some interesting content on her channel. Shout out to my subscriber Wolverine, who sent this link to me. Let's go ahead, dive in, take a look.
About 2020-57267, Madeline Albee and David Wilson. Mr. Wilson, show cause sent by a friend of the court. The other party hasn't appeared. Ms. Holmes here, friend. Did you update now?
Yes, there's no current billing. This is a Virginia State 4.
Real quick, y'all, how's the sound? Can y'all hear the sound good? And this is an interesting thing too, because that was my first question. How old is the child? This dude is 73. My father's 72. And I'm in my early 40s. So, and my pops had me kind of late. So, I mean, this kid could be as early, this kid could be 40s, late 40s. I mean, this is crazy that this happened and this is an actual issue. So I'm gonna go ahead and go back to the video. I just show you thing before we dive in.
Case, they have $42,354.03 showing owed. We have $88.50 in fees for a total of $42,442.53. There's no priors or anything on the case. We do need to verify his address and employer information. We do have notification that the other party has passed away as of January 3rd. However, there is still over $8,000 owed to the state of Virginia that has to be paid.
Today's case may be shocking, but it's a reminder of the business of child support and how mothers would fight for child support until their last day on earth. And even after that, the courts will continue to fight. A man who can't keep up with his payments for whatever reason, he could owe forever, at least until it's paid off. This man right here is in court for child support. But the other party in the case, she died on January 3rd, 2023. This is how a 73-year-old man can be in court for being behind $42,000 in child support. And yes, you heard right, 73 years old. His elderly baby mama who died in January, she was 82 years old. We're talking about a great-great-grandmother still waiting on child support from decades ago. Yeah, you're going to have to watch this one. You're not going to see this anywhere else. Take a second to make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and click the notification bell for all updates. Don't waste any time. Let's go ahead and jump into it.
So I have a notice right here saying that notice of trial versus child support case closed. It says your child support case number of the Social Security Act has been, it's come back, my case is being closed in 60 days. I don't know if it's because my grandma, this is from y'all too, also from Waco County. I got this right here in front of me.
It's regarding the 4D number. Your docket is not closed. There is an issue with closure letters going out that are for the 4D number. That does not include your docket or front of the court case. There's a difference.
So the 4D number, what she's talking about is an internal Department of Health and Human Services number that's assigned to every person that has a case. I guess that's being closed, but your case number, your docket number is the same number as your case 257267. I guess that case is not being closed, so that doesn't affect your collection of arrears that are still owed. Now, it sounds like the other party's deceased, so the amount that's owed to her, I guess, may be dismissed off that $42,000 balance, but that would still leave $8,000 or so that's owed to the state of Virginia. Is that right, Ms. Hummel?
Yes, Virginia has been notified, and they state it takes, they have to wait 61 days of no correspondence or notification from the CP. So as to how Virginia handles their arrearages owed to the other party, it is unclear if they intend to still collect that or not. But they did notify me that $8,246.42 is owed to their state.
All right, so I guess what she's saying there is, in Michigan, if the person to whom the support arrears are owed passes away, those amounts are dismissed from front of the court records. They can still be pursued according to probate law, but we don't have any part of that. I don't know what Virginia does. They may or may not do the same thing. So they do the same thing, though that'll reduce the arrears by 34,000 or so. That would be owed to Ms. Albee.
So although it's been decades and his baby mama passed away, the state of Virginia said, we don't care what happened to her, you still owe us. The state is saying out of $42,000 in child support debt, they still have to collect $8,246 because that's their cut of the money. That would mean nearly 20% of his child support payments, including fees and charges, assessed by the state of Virginia. We can also assume that the state of Michigan will get a cut of that, since that's the court he's appearing in now. And then you hear the judge. He's like, we want the money that you owe her, because at this point, that's not our problem. We just want our part that you owed us. But if her estate wanted to go after him, that would be a probate court issue.
That's
so
true.
It's not 100% that you will be totally out of the clear of that $34,000.
If they don't, then I guess potentially that full amount would still be owed. Maybe you could file a motion down there for some reason if they don't dismiss that. But regardless, there's $8,200 left over to the state at this point. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. So where are you working right now?
No, sir. Actually, I'm waiting to get my birth certificate in from Virginia now so I can get an ID to get a job.
Okay, let me pause it real quick right here, okay? Because I do got something I want to jump on real quick before I let the rest of this video play. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Britt, hey, I'm Willis Wolverine. What's up? Thanks for sending me this video. And the rest of this video. There is a cost to go to court, okay? When you go to court, I don't give a damn what it's for. I don't care if it's for child support. I don't care if somebody got caught shoplifting and they're there. There is a cost to go to court. Let's just put this in context. If, about 14 years ago, as a young attorney, if I was on the court-appointed list because the public defender's office had too many cases, I would bill whoever I'm appointed to $50 an hour, and that's cheap as hell. But how the hell do you think they recoup that $50 an hour? From the people who are actually, so they have so many fines, so many court fees. It costs for you to be on probation. Like, it costs for you to be on probation. So everything has a fee to it. If you're making a payment through the court system, some of that money is being redirected to go back into the court system. I mean, think about it. If someone, I've seen so many times on both sides of the bench where, or both sides of the table, defense, prosecution side, if someone's on probation, they could do everything right. They got a job, they haven't gotten in trouble, they've done all this stuff, but they're back in court and potentially looking at going into custody because they haven't paid their probation supervision fees. Or I've seen a lot of times where, if house arrest is issued in a particular case, it costs extra to be on house arrest. That damn equipment ain't free that they got wrapped around your ankle. So we got to put that in context. No matter what you're in court for, if someone's in court, you're paying some fees because all of those people got to eat. Hey, the taxpayers pay it, and the people who are actually appearing in front of the court is paying it. Now, the other thing That $1 Million Man music player. Yeah, the other thing that I thought was interesting is, and I'm about to go back to the video so y'all can see it, but take a listen to his response, right? And this isn't the first time I'm watching this video, but let's just put this in context. If anybody's new jumping in, this guy's 73 years old. His 82-year-old baby mother, who passed away at the beginning of the year, God bless the dead, who passed away at the beginning of the year, he's in court for owing $42,000 in back child support. Over $8,000 of that is for fees that is owed to the state of Virginia, where the child support order was originally filed. Now he is in Michigan in front of Michigan court. So that's a discussion. So now watch where it takes a turn. And I put a video out where, hey, how to legally pay less in child support. The number one rule was hire an attorney. Even for this, you should hire an attorney. But clearly this guy doesn't have the means and resources to hire an attorney, because when the judge asked him, okay, tell me about your work situation, as a 73-year-old man, his first response is, I'm trying to get my birth certificate. So the fact that he's trying to get his birth certificate to have a job, it clearly shows you that we could get a good estimation of what this guy's economic situation is and kind of where he at. Now I'm gonna go back so we can check out the rest of this video.
I haven't been working.
How long have you lived in Michigan?
I've been here going on 10 years. I was working when I first came here in Albert Farm. So I worked taking child for the weekend. That was a couple years ago.
Why are no payments were made? Maybe that was before it got transferred to Michigan?
Yes, sir.
So you've lived here for 10 years. When's the last time you worked then? How long ago?
I've been doing that. My ID got expired, so I went from a birth certificate now so I can get a job. But the last time I worked was probably about 3 years ago.
This man is 73 years old at a contempt of court hearing for back child support, being grilled about working, and he's supposed to be retirement age. 73 years old.
What's the work though?
Yes, sir. I mean, I do side work and stuff like that when it comes open, but
They support out of that too.
Now, right here is a common mistake, and y'all gonna see later on that this isn't this guy's first contact with the court system. He's gonna disclose later on he was released because he violated probation. Before I even saw this video, based on how he responded to these questions, I could tell that he had prior criminal conduct in some form or fashion with the court, because most, how could I put this? People who have that experience and, you know, they just kind of in the system, in your 70s and just violating probation, still in custody, a lot of times there is a concept where people age out of committing crimes because you're just too damn old. But this dude is 73. Later on, he's going to say that he was in custody for a probation violation. But the norm of someone with that mindset is you're going to make whatever excuse you can make to appease the judge to get out there as soon as possible. He doesn't have an attorney. What he should be saying right now is, Your Honor, I'm 73. I don't got no money. I don't have it. I can't work. My back hurt. He should be talking about, oh, I know his back hurt because my back hurt and I was nowhere near his age. But he should be talking about he has no ability to pay it. But watch how this conversation goes where the judge is just throwing it out there. Oh, you can pay it with your side hustle. You can do this and do that. How much time? What if I gave you this time? And he's just so used to, I want to say what I can say to get out of this in the moment, because that's just kind of how it is. It is what it is. He's really backing himself in a corner. If I were advising him, saying, hey, you're going to court, you're in this situation, I would tell you, man, you put the onus on the judge to make a decision as to what they're going to do about it. If they're going to waive it, because judges have the ability to waive a lot of fees. Judges have the ability to make cases go away and cases get dismissed. The judge has a lot of power. So I'm gonna be honest. If I were telling him, hey, this is what you should do before you go into court, you can't pay it, you can't work, your back hurt, you're in constant pain, explain all of the shit that you got that's going on with you that's causing a problem, and put the onus on the judge to see if he's going to either get rid of everything or what. But put the onus on him. Now, that being said, hey, there are some judges who would throw your old ass in jail. But I think he has a really strong, presentation if he knew how to present it. Your Honor, the child in this case is 50 years old. That he got kids. He probably got a child support order after this. So he has some arguments, but he's not making those arguments because he's just so used to, I need to say what I can say so I can get out of this situation ASAP.
Grandpa, you heard him. The judge said you need to take your money from your side hustle. You know, that side work that you've been doing under the table.
That laugh in the background is hilarious.
Yeah, that money. They won't get cut.
I just got out of jail not too long ago also in Lake County, so I mean, I ain't been out about 3 months.
Where'd you go to jail?
In violation.
Violation of what? Parole?
Probation, yes, sir.
Probation? Parole? All right.
I'm sorry, these are just way too many problems for him to be this old. It should not look like this.
Here's a funny comment she gonna put up. Watch this. When he talk about what happened to his birth certificate.
Got a job waiting for me. I should be having a job pretty soon. Just went for my birth certificate.
When the judge said, "Oh, so you're able to work," I was thinking that he would at least say, "No, I'm too old."
See? Exactly.
You've been here for 10 years without a copy of your birth certificate?
Oh, I had one, but the one I had they said was capable because I used to have it in my wallet and where my mom's name was. It faded out and stuff like that. So Secretary I got a hold of it.
I don't know why this had me dying laughing. His birth certificate number is like his.
So, what do you anticipate?
She hilarious.
I'm gonna need a couple of weeks. I mean, I went for my birth certificate.
Listen to what he said. He said, "How long you think it's gonna take you to be able to make a payment?" He said, "I think I'm gonna need a couple of weeks." Hey, sis was writing this video saying, "No, I can't pay it. I don't got it. I can't work. My arthritis, whatever your issues are." Yo, real talk. I had this one client, and everything was. I had this one client. She was going to court, and she came to my office. This was back in the day, and she was older, but she could move around. She was real sharp, right? So I was like, okay, we're going to court, whatever, next month on the 5th, whatever the date was. So on that date, right? Let me tell you how savvy she was and how this guy clearly wasn't thinking. On that date, you need to go to court. She show up, and when she show up, she looked like extremely geriatric, completely not like the woman I had the meeting with, right? She got an oxygen machine that she got on wheels. She rolling behind her. She dressed like a grandma. She wasn't dressed like that when I saw her. Her hair is completely shaved, like completely bald, right? And so I never forget, we're in court, and it was a situation where it was just court fees. It was something about probation and court fees. And we go in there, and that was the least amount of work I ever had to do in a case ever, because the judge looked at her and like waived all the court fees. Like, hey, we're going to end your probation. You're free to go. We're waiving all your court fees. Don't worry about it. You take care, ma'am. And I was like, bet. I was like, that's easy. I checked off my little list. I was like, count that as a win. I was like, damn, that was cool. You know what happened? Later on that day, I ran into that judge. We back in the chambers behind the, in the cut where all the people behind the bench could go. And he was like, yeah, I felt really bad for your client because she was a cancer patient. Now, I didn't say she was a cancer patient, but she came in there looking sickly as hell. And the judge just assumed that she was a cancer patient, got her off probation, waived all her fees, sent her on her way. It was crazy as hell. And I worked in the same county where I practiced at, so I would run into people all the time. I ran into her like 3 weeks later. She got her like her Jordans, and I was like, you one slick grandma, but at least she had the wherewithal to understand that, hey, I can use my older age here as a resource for some type of sympathy or empathy. Now, if the judge would have asked, I would have looked at her. I'd have been like, y'all, I'm not familiar with her health conditions, but you are free to ask my client. I'd have let her tell that lie to the court because I know she would have lied her ass off, probably. But and then, of course, that would have made a whole big mess. I would have had to do some whole legal stuff. But this guy isn't even giving himself enough time to be able to rectify the situation. He talking about, I think I'm going to need 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, you're not going to have no damn money, bro. There's no way in hell you're going to have money in 2 weeks. You know what I mean? So this guy's just really backing himself on the
John lined up?
Yes, sir, I talked with Ms.
I was hoping it was another funny thing she put on the screen.
So I give you until May to start making payments, start making $250 a month payments at that point?
$250 a month in May.
I mean, I'll keep y'all in touch. I mean, update what's going on and stuff like that, but that should be long enough.
All right, I mean, that's basically all of March, April, and May before your first payment is due. Should give you time to get your birth certificate worked out, get a job, everything.
All right, yes, sir, I'm happy with that. Yeah, I'll agree along with that.
All right. Finding contempt, payments that were ordered since in 45 days, jail will be suspended. You don't have to serve it as long as you make payments starting in May of.
All right, so he just gave Buddy about 90 days to start making payments of $250 a month. Do y'all really think that this guy is going to be able to make $250 payments a month consistently to satisfy the court cost of $8,000? There's no way in hell he's setting himself up. He's setting himself up for the for failure here. Hey, man, grandma was real savvy. She was like a hip grandma too, you know. I saw her. She was like late 60s, but you would probably think she was like maybe late 40s, early 50s. She was savvy as I don't know what. She shaved all her hair off. She went hard for the game. But this guy is going to set himself up for failure. 90 days to start paying $250 a month at a minimum to satisfy the $8,000 that's owed just in court costs and fees. Now, if y'all listen closely, he said, hey, I found you in contempt of court. The 45-day sentence that you would get is going to be suspended. So that means that he has 45 days in custody hanging over his head. And if he doesn't pay that money, I don't know how this is going to end. I'm going to go back and see if I can hunt down this story or if Sis put up an update. But I guarantee you that this didn't end favorably. And there's a high-ass probability that this brother, not even, right, 90 days to fail. That's essentially what it is. He just kicked the can down the road for 90 days for all of this to go completely left field. And he's going to end up having to do that 45 days. I mean, like, I hope not, but it's probably like 90 days to fail is a 90% chance that he's going to end up having to do that 45-day sentence. Let me go ahead and finish up the rest of this video, folks, so I can chop it up.
23, in the amount of $250 per month. If you do that grade is not, then that 45 days would be imposed with a $2,500 bond. There's a $100 contempt fine that will be added to your balance.
So he's being ordered to pay $250 at the end of May every month. And if he doesn't start paying, they're going to put him in jail for 45 days. The crazy thing about this is how his baby mama, at any time, she could have told the court that she's not looking for the back payments. And yes, they still would have charged him the money that he owed the state. But she kept that $34,000 debt over his head until the day she died. Definitely take note on that. But you know what? Let's go ahead and get the conversation started here. Do you think that a 73-year-old man who's already not working, he's going to go back to work and get a job?
All right. So, hey, that's the video. Shout out to Pink Book Lessons. She got some crazy stuff over there on her channel. Definitely interesting. Definitely go over there, check it out. And I would actually be so inclined to say that, hey, this guy looks like he has a track record of just not making any payments, doing anything. He probably, if you're 73 going into custody for probation violations, again, I hope this isn't the case, but there's a high probability that this guy probably has some type of substance abuse issues going on, maybe mental health. That's not normal functioning things for a 73-year-old. I don't think I ever, all the time that I did child support, I don't think I ever went to court and saw a 73-year-old man in court. If I did, I don't want to represent that guy because that's going to be a tough ass case. It may not work out in his favor. I don't want that shit on my conscience. But this guy's probably setting himself up for failure at the end of the day. And it's funny, we're going to see how this play out and come April. He got 90 days. So we got 90 days that we will go back and check this out. But it's probably going to end with him going in custody for 45 days. The other thing that was interesting was the judge was 100% right. If someone passes away, their estate has the right to file documents with the court to collect those losses. I don't want to say that this guy is not at fault for his own mishaps and missteps because it is your fault. I mean, you had the 30 seconds of pleasure with this older woman, and unfortunately for you, you got an older woman who was so damn, I don't know if she was vindictive or she forgot or petty that she kept your ass on child support for decades. Like, this is actually crazy to the point that she actually passed away. But I don't know. I can't speak. But ladies, is that not a little bit ridiculous? Like, at what point would you just be like, you know what? Our child is 50 years old. Maybe I should just go to court and let this go. Would you really want to hold it to somebody here? I felt like, hey, look, God bless the dead. But I feel like that's an extreme level of pettiness that I think is probably the craziest thing that I've ever seen or ever heard as it relates to somebody being in child support court. That's crazy as hell. Now, I don't know if I don't know if child support is so fair. I had one homeboy who I went to law school with. He's an attorney down in Georgia. He was on Love and Hip Hop as a little scrappy baby mother lawyer. And the comments on social media was funny because they was like, oh, yeah, what's up? That's my boy, Jerry. Shout out to him. Look at him. He being a hero and a villain all at the same time. That's crazy, man. Man, that's terrible. I don't know. I think it's terrible. I think, hey, I'm not saying he's accountable for this situation too, because damn, bro, you picked the wrong one. But I would like to think that once my son hit 40, even if I was out there, that, my baby mother would be like, you know what? You ain't paid after all these years. We both getting old and elderly and senior in our ways. I'm going to go ahead and let this go so you can live your 73-year-old life and I can live my 82-year-old life. But y'all terrible, man. Yeah, hey, it's funny. It's funny, but hey, what y'all typing, it's true. She's like, hey, I want those ears plus interest. So it's going to be crazy how this whole thing is going to play out. This guy's never going to get that balance paid off. The last time this dude probably had $8,000, probably been a long ass time ago. But this goes to a bigger point of, why will you place your feet? I'm going to use feet. Y'all know, like, if you read the Bible and study history, they use feet as a euphemism. If you see in the Bible, it say she went to his home and rubbed his feet. Hey, that they used as a euphemism. But you got to be careful where you putting your feet, fellas. If you put your feet just anywhere, you're going to get, like, athlete's foot, or you're going to put your feet in the wrong person's home, and you're going to end up 73 years old in child support court. And that shit is not going to end well for anyone. Bro, they gonna have to put his payments on her headstone. Man, man, y'all terrible, man. But it is true. Man, that joke be a brosy, man. Whatever that. But yo, you got to be careful of where you put your feet, okay? Because where you put your feet, fellas, hey, ladies too, fellas, where you put your feet, and lady, who feet you decide you want to rub, is so indicative on how your financial outlook is going to be later on down the road. It was funny because my homeboy Wolverine once, he was telling me about that whole concept of that Kevin Samuels had with a high value man. And I was like, what exactly is it? What is the definition? And he sent me a link. He was like, oh, this is where he actually laid out the definition. And everybody always puts that concept of someone being high value with money. What's going on? I appreciate you joining. And so everybody always puts it on money, but it was really unique because he said, I don't really put NBA players and athletes in that category. And I was like, this is interesting. Why? It was like, because someone who's really a high value person outside of money, they don't put themselves in position where they are stretching their resources to them, having a bunch of baby mothers, a bunch of kids, a bunch of stuff like that. So we've seen that, a baby mother got a 73-year-old dude who should be enjoying retirement, and these should be his golden years. Instead, they're like his wood years, because that's terrible. Clearly has some issues because he's in custody or just got out of custody. Now he's looking at 45 days over his head, and there's a good probability that he's going to have to eat that 45 days, because I just don't see any way he's going to come up with the ends. I don't know. Maybe she passed away and left him an insurance policy. I doubt it, but it's a possibility. But I don't see any way he's going to come up with the ends. But again, where you put your feet, ladies, whose feet you decide to rub is indicative of where your economic situation is going to be in the future. How many times have we seen athletes who make hundreds of millions of dollars have 50 kids with 50 baby mothers, and they end up 6 years later broke as hell, right? Like everybody, like so far, Nick Cannon is pulling it off, right? Nick Cannon has a lot of kids. Nick Cannon got that bag. His economic resources appear to be doing well, so he's not in a point where he's stretched too thin. But hey, that's a whole nother conversation and a whole nother discussion, because when you got a zillion kids, it's one thing to be able to provide money, but that's not actually raising your children and actually having the time to be there because you stretched over 65 households. Screw that. There's no way that that's a life that anybody should really want. There's no way that that's a life anybody should have. And, if I would have done everything in my power to try to get her to get rid of that child support order, he still would have been on hook for probably what was owed to the state, but it's a lot easier. He don't have to worry about the estate coming after it. I would have had my son or daughter there vouching for me like, hey, I'm an adult who can sustain myself, so there's no need for him to pay this because I have to help him out if he has a good relationship with his child. But I thought that video was interesting because that video is a cautionary tale of, putting your feet in the wrong place can have your economic system jacked up. Not to mention this dude also made a lot of bad choices, it appears. Like you're a 73-year-old guy with no birth certificate to get a job. That whole thing was just a headache. I hope it turns out well for him. But I'm going to definitely chime back in because I actually took a look at the court system in Michigan. And luckily for us, they post all of their child support hearings online, so you can actually find them online. So I actually made a tab in my calendar sometime around, April, May to follow up to see what's the status on this guy right here. Like, y'all let me know in the comments if y'all think he gonna be able to make that payment, get this situation behind him or not. His option, I think his best option is, because I just don't anticipate he's going to be able to make that payment. He may make it for 1 month or 2 months, but he's not going to be able to make that consistent. I still think his best option is to just put the onus on the court. Like, put the onus on the court to, like, okay, this is your contempt order. Are you going to eat that contempt order and throw a 73-year-old guy in jail who can't pay child support? It's a possibility. He's gonna risk going to jail anyway. He might as well put the pressure on them. Don't give him, I can get a job and do side hustles. Nah. Talk about what it is to be a 73-year-old guy with no resources and what you got to deal with and put the onus on them. Hopefully it comes in front of the same judge, because one thing that does happen in these types of cases is a lot of times if this judge signs this order, so this guy has 45 days over his head if he doesn't comply with this payment setup. If this case goes in front of another judge, sometimes you'll see judges, and I've seen judges do this, where they're reluctant to overturn or disregard another judge's order. It's not uncommon for it to happen, but a lot of times they frown upon doing that. They're like, hey, because they don't want someone to overturn their order. I've actually seen they'll continue the case. We're just going to move this case to the third week of next month because that's when the judge who wrote this order will be back and we can put it back in front of him because I don't want to overturn these things. But if he's back in front of that judge or any judge, put the onus on them. He's risking going to jail anyway. So put the pressure on them to just be like, you know, she's passed away. It's gone. It's $8,000. That's up to Virginia how they want to do it. They'll be in contact with you. I think that's his best plan. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Hey, as always, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Hey, fellas, watch where you putting your feet. Ladies, watch who feet you decide to rub because it could be an economic thing that could impact you for the rest of y'all life. Y'all take care. Be blessed. Peace.